Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. This is my podcast talking about New Japan Pro Wrestling because I am a gigantic fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, this is something I've always wanted to do, but not really, too confident. But you know what, man? I this past couple days, just reading upon stuff in the news and all the whole Will Ospreay, Seth Rollins debacle, Twitter feud, whatever you want to call it, has made me really excited about pro wrestling and the G1 Climax, for example. I remember when I first wanted to do it, it was around the end of G1 Climax 28. It was like a couple days after. That's when I thought to myself, like, okay, I want to do this. But sorry if you hear that. It's a dog in the background. Um, I live with a lot of people, so it doesn't give me very much leeway to get my own privacy. So it's really hard to find places to record. So right now I'm in my creepy looking garage. It's very dingy and very messy. So if you hear some weird, stuff fall or something, or even a dog next door who's barking for some odd reason, probably no reason actually, they just bark. So I want to apologize for that. Hopefully, if I keep doing this and hopefully find some time to find a place where be more solitude and, more quiet. But anyway, as I was saying, I've been wanting to do this podcast for a while because, I've been in love with New Japan Pro Wrestling for quite a while, and it's you get to see people on, Twitter, and sometimes Twitter can have its negatives and positives, as people know. It can be very toxic, but at the same time, it can be very fun. Messaging and tweeting with other people who find love and similar interests as one another, and you get to talk to communicate with one another and in a very peaceful and a very loving way, and you bond over something that you love, and there's something special about that, not with just that, but with anything. So you know but there comes a time where it's like, oh man, like I don't, I'm kind of shy with my tweets sometimes, and it's like, it's like, damn, I don't know. Like I said, the last time I tried to do this, it was a confidence thing. So, we'll see how this one goes, man. I'm really excited for this year's G1, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode, because the immense amount of excitement I have for this year's G1 is through the roof. Like it really is. Like, last year's G1 I was really hyped, because who doesn't love the G1? It's like it's the best wrestling tournament in the world. It's the most prestigious tournament in the world, in my opinion. That's with anything. Fight me on that. But yeah, last year's G1 was spectacular. It was really lovely. A lot of great wrestling. Obviously, what more can you expect from the G1? But it's this year is it's quite different. A lot of new faces, a lot of new talent. It's looking pretty promising. I mean, let's just start off with formerly known as Dean Ambrose, John Moxley. That was something that came from left field. Honestly, if you would have told me last year during last year's G1 that WWE's Dean Ambrose would wrestle next year's G1, I would have laughed. I would have laughed at you. I mean, there's no. I pretty sure everybody feels the same. Who would have fucking thought? Excuse my language. I cuss quite a bit, but who would have thought? Like that's something I never saw coming. Yeah, but but you got to look at that as a treat. That's how I take it as a fucking treat. Something. But that just shows how unpredictable wrestling can be. And that's another reason why we love it. You know, and I think on other episodes, hopefully if I keep on going, I will get more in depth on how the origins for my love of New Japan, not just New Japan, but in wrestling in general, will come through. But yeah, that's for another day. But yeah, wrestling's entirely unpredictable, and the Moxley situation just shows that. I'm really excited. I'm really excited. The match he had with Juice at the Best of the Super Junior final was very good, very good. That's like I didn't really keep track of WWE when he was there as much. I think like 2 years ago I stopped really giving a shit and really just keeping track here and there, but not really putting my entire focus on the product. And but I've always, I always knew he was talented. I remember when the Shield was first starting, he was one of the standouts, definitely on the microphone in my opinion. And he's done a good job with what he's done so far. I mean, he's only had what, like couple. I mean, I know he's had a couple matches on the independent scene, but as far as like being televised on a big show, for one match with Juice, he's got me excited. I mean, I look forward to seeing what he could bring to the G1. I want to see what his energy is going to be like. 17, 18, or however long days this G1 schedule is going to be like. I'm really looking forward to it. And the other being Kenta. That was I'm really excited for Kenta, man. I have, I've saw on Twitter people were really hyped and excited to hear that he's with New Japan, but I don't know. I feel like it should be a lot more. Like I don't know, maybe it's just me. I mean, obviously it's just me because I'm really excited. I mean, I'm gonna talk about it more in a minute, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like I was just surprised of like how I don't know. I feel like maybe some people like forgot how good Kenta was. Definitely in the Noah days. I mean, like man, like I remember when WWE signed him, it was a big deal. It was a really big deal. Like he was one of the biggest Japanese acquisitions like that you could remember. I mean before Shinsuke obviously, you know, but it's quite it's quite strange in my opinion. That's how I'm taking it. It's quite strange that a lot of people are not talking about the matchups Kenta is gonna have because I don't know. Like I'm almost looking forward to every match that he's scheduled for like during this, and I guess I get the whole you know skepticism with him coming. This is Japanese style. It's been a long time since he has fought that style. I mean, not long for me because I remember when the WWE let him perform at Noah against Marufuji. Like last year was it last year? Yeah, and they had a fucking like 45-minute match. It was a very long and brutal match. I remember, and when I saw that, I was like, oh man, like, psh, there it is. Like that's the old Kenta that I used to watch when, when I try to find fucking tapes on the internet of Noah. It's quite a thrill for me. Like I'm really excited for Kenta, and honestly, I'm gonna make my predictions, and I'm gonna let people know. Like, I've already like mapped out how the G1's gonna go in my head, in my predictions, and I already mapped out the points and stuff that I'll be sharing towards the end of this podcast. But I have him doing really well, really well. Now, will he win in my predictions? Hopefully you stick around to wait and find, figure that out. But yeah, I'm really excited for Kenta, bro. I'm really excited. Like I like to see him back to this style is something that I think he needs for himself because he said in interviews he wanted to show the world his style of wrestling, and the WWE thing didn't work out, and unfortunately he was plagued by injuries, and that's never good. And they could only, we only saw a glimpse, you know what I mean? I always kept track of him because he's always been one of my favorites. I remember the one time that I felt that we got a glimpse of that in the WWE was the match he had with Tommy End or Aleister Black. I'm sorry. Yeah, Aleister Black. At a takeover, I think it wasn't in Chicago. It was probably something after that. Maybe Orlando. Could be wrong. Correct me in the comment section if you decide to, correct me. But that match with Aleister Black was very hard hitting, very brutal, and I was like, yes. I was like, that's him. That's his style that I love watching him in. And to do it against Ibushi, I mean, everybody has a hard hitting style in New Japan, but Ibushi's one of the top, one of the top dogs there, and I can't wait. The only time these guys have, touched in the ring was at Pro Wrestling Noah. It was him tagging with Taiji Ishimori against Bushi and Marufuji, and it's a really great tag match. I mean, it's like one of my favorites to watch. I still watch it to this day, and if you could find a way to find that match, please do, and do yourself a favor and watch that match. But towards the end, Ibushi gets pinned by Kenta in a very brutal GTS. Yeah, try to find the match. Try to find the fucking match. Watch it, treat yourself, and look at it as a little appetizer before Dallas in a couple weeks. But yeah. And of course we have the juniors making their G1 debuts. This is quite exciting as well. I mean, Shingo and Will, both in separate blocks, which is a good thing because they tore each other apart at Best of the Super Juniors 26. It's like one of my favorite finals of Best of the Super Juniors in my opinion. Like I remember last year was Taiji and Hiromu, and that match blew me away. Like that was like one of my favorite. I think that might have been my favorite match of last year. I think I picked it. I don't know. Maybe I should, if this podcast keep going, we could, make a list of our top 5, top 10 rather, favorite matches from New Japan. But yeah, I remember that being like my top favorite matches, and I was like, man, you know, this year I was like, let's see if they could beat it. And sure enough, maybe I need to watch the matches back to back, but I remember watching and just being blown away to the fact where I was like, oh, they fucking did it. They beat Taiji and Hiromu. But it's embarrassment of riches. They're both fucking excellent. But I would love to I love doing that. Like I do that with the G1 quite a bit. Like I watch G1 25 final, and then the next match I watch is 26 final, and see. Like I don't know. I like to do that for some reason. To compare finals and stuff. But yeah, Shingo in the B block and Whale in the A block. And yeah, I can't really say. I made my predictions, but I'm really curious how they're gonna treat Will in the tournament because after all, he is IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. And I could already see it now. If he has a poor showing at the G1, people are like, oh, they're diminishing the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, and it's like, no, man, this is a rough tournament. This is Will's first tournament, the first G1, and it's a lot of people are gonna say also that but he's the best of the Super Juniors, similar tournament, but it's like, nah, man, these guys are bigger, stronger, you know, and it's tough. It's a tough tournament, and I don't know. I'm sure it's and I think it's gonna be a little different for Shingo though because I feel like they've done this thing with Shingo where is he a heavyweight? Is he a junior? So it's gonna be interesting how he does too as well. But again, I'm gonna make a bold prediction for Shingo later on the show. That'll maybe tell a story where the direction I think he's gonna go as a prediction. But anyway, let's just at first let's announce the blocks really fast. So for the A block, we have Lance Archer, Evil, Bad Luck Fale, Kota Ibushi, Kenta, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Sanada, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, for the B block, Jeff Cobb, Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, Jon Moxley, Tetsuya Naito, Juice Robinson, Taichi, Shingo Takagi, Jay White, Toru Yano. Yeah, really stacked. Both divisions are stacked, but I think the edge goes to the A block. I remember last year's the B block was stacked, I think. Or at least, I don't know if it was stacked, but they definitely had the better showing, I believe. The B block had the better showing last year, so I'm really looking forward to what the A block brings because it's so different. And, both blocks are different, so I'm really can't wait to see which one comes with the edge of performance wise, A block or B block. So night one, kicking off the G1, July 6th in Dallas. I would announce the full match card, but I think we're going to stick to the G1 tournament. So the first match kicking off the G1 tournament, the entire thing is Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer. Interesting first match for both men. They both had a great match at New Japan, the New Japan Cup this year, and yeah, it was really stellar performance by both men. Definitely from Archer because I think a lot of people put Archer in that tag team box with Davey Boy Smith Jr. But I don't know if people know, but Davey Boy Smith is gone from New Japan, so Lance Archer is going solo, or who knows, maybe he'll tag with another Suzuki-Gun member. But yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with him. And I think he has a really good chance of winning this match too, getting his win back, so to speak. So, but anyway, let's move on to the second match. Evil versus Bad Luck Fale. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sanada, Kota Ibushi versus Kenta, and Okada versus Tanahashi. Night one. That's I hope people treat it there as a special moment. Those who are going to Dallas, I hope they treat it with a special moment because I think that is special. Okada and Tanahashi is one of the greatest modern day wrestling rivalries to date. I mean, you can't say that Okada and Tanahashi have had a bad match with each other. You just can't. Watch every single goddamn match they've been a part of, with one another, and it's been nothing short than spectacular. Like it really is. And yeah, you just can't deny. Every time these guys step in the ring against each other, something special happens. And now it's coming to the States. It's coming to Dallas in the USA. And I think that's really special, man. I really do. And I envy those who are going to be there because that's going to be a special moment, and I hope they treat it as such. And Ibushi versus Kenta, opening night, for Kenta in New Japan, what a matchup to pick. And yeah, I could see this being a brawl, dude. It's gonna be brutal. I honestly cannot wait for this match. I think I'm looking forward to it. This match the most. But I'll tell you what matches I'm most looking forward to. So after that, day 2 happens next week. You get a week off. Darn it. Such a tease, right? Get an opening of G1, spectacular match card to open up the G1 in the USA, and then, to butter us up, and then we gotta wait a fucking week. It's kind of rough, in my eyes, but yeah, let's get to the match card. So opening the G1 for the B block, first match, Juice Robinson versus Shingo Takagi. That's gonna be interesting. Moxley versus Taichi, Yano versus Naito, and Ishii versus Jeff Cobb, and also Jay White versus Goto. Yeah, pretty good opening for the B block. I think it gets a lot more juicier for the B block a couple nights in. But I'm curious how the Hiroki Goto and Jay White rivalry continues with for this one main eventing. Jay White beat him at I think it was the. Oh no, it wasn't the Dontaku show. It was a show. I forgot which one, but yeah, they main evented and Jay White got the best of him. And I believe the Kazuna Road a couple days ago. Goto came back and went after White was cutting a scathing promo against him and Shibata as well. Shibata and Goto are really really good friends, former IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. So yeah, it's going to continue here, and yeah, that's day 2. Now let's move on to So day 3 continues with the A block. Opening for this one, Lance Archer versus Bad Luck Fale. Battle of the Giants for Bullet Club and Suzuki-Gun. Ospreay versus Sonata. That's going to be a good one. Yeah, that's going to be a really good one. I have that on my list right here as day 3 most anticipated match. Ospreay versus Sonata. And Okada versus Sabre Jr. That's a good match as well. They think Sakura Genesis last year. Yeah, Okada defended the belt against him. Had a really stellar match, really great showing. And Ibushi versus Evil, which is also on my list because I'm a huge fan of Evil. Obviously, a huge fan of Ibushi. And yeah, this is gonna be a brutal one too. I just feel it. I'm a huge Evil fan, man. I'm a huge Evil fan, and they're doing a little story here with him that we'll get to in a few minutes, but that we'll talk about more in depth. But yeah, I can't wait for that one. And Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenta, which also made the lists for the day 3 most anticipated match. Yeah, former ace of Noah versus former ace of New Japan, or still is, depending on who you ask. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think a lot of people are a little, cautious because they know Tanahashi's going to this tournament really hurt, really banged up. But yeah, I'm still excited to see these two in the ring with each other. It's I can't really say if they have before. I don't know if in a Noah match or, my knowledge is so minimal. But I can't remember the last time these guys locked up. But we're gonna get it. Day 3, G1. Now, moving on to day 4. So yeah, day 4, kicking off for that one, Toru Yano versus Shingo Takagi. Juice Robinson versus Hiroki Goto, Jeff Cobb versus Jon Moxley, Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay White, and main event Naito versus Taichi. Yeah, I think the match that I'm most looking forward to for this night would be Ishii versus Jay White. I remember when Jay White. I don't remember when it was if it was during his IWGP US title reign, but there was a backstage interview where he called out Ishii, and there's been a couple interviews of him talking about Ishii, So I always felt that because they never really did anything with it. I remember it was like a little small interview, like with the backstage after a tag team match, and he was basically declaring his reign as he's going to be like one of the top champions, and he mentioned Ishii's name. I don't know if you could go find it, but yeah, he mentioned his name, but they didn't really do anything with it. So I just figured that was him just going off the cuff and just talking about a match that I think he would really want to have, and I think he's getting it with this for day 4, Ishii versus Jay White, and and Ishii versus Taichi should be good. They've had a couple good matches. I think I enjoyed their match a lot at the anniversary show last year. I enjoyed the Intercontinental title defense against Ishii at New Beginning this year, but it wasn't my favorite. But I think a lot of people, I don't know, I've seen a couple people on Twitter point out that don't be surprised if Ishii takes the victory for this one. But I just don't see it. I don't know. Call me out if it does happen, but I just don't see Taichi doing much in this G1, at all. That's not me disrespecting Taichi, because I do have faith in Taichi. I think he's really good when he wants to be. That New Japan Cup match with Ishii was like I think I picked it as like my favorite match of the New Japan Cup, and who knows where it will rank towards the end of this year, because I'm still remembering it. But I don't know. I just don't see him making noise in the G1 is all. That's just my opinion. But let's move on to day 5 kicks off with Kenta versus Lance Archer, Okada versus Bad Luck Fale, Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi and Will Ospreay, and Evil against Sonata. Now, let's talk about the matches that made the list for this day as my most anticipated match. Ibushi versus Ospreay, because their opening match for the Never Openweight belt at Wrestle Kingdom this year was really good. Really, really good. I remember it was a great opening match to open up the Wrestle Kingdom, but I remember looking at my buddy Hector. Shout out to my buddy Hector. He watches a couple New Japan shows with me, but he isn't super hardcore like I am, but he gets super excited around G1 time. So shout out to my boy Hector, one of my best friends. But I remember talking to him after the match was over about the opening match, and we both were on the same page of like we feel like they could go a lot more. And I know that's crazy because Kota ended up getting knocked out by that elbow that Ospreay likes. It's that fucking brutal elbow. It's like one of the most dangerous spots in wrestling or something, or at least that's how it looked like after the way Kota looked, carried out on a stretcher and shit. It was fucking brutal. I remember me and my buddy being very worried for Kota afterwards, and he was concussed. He got a concussion, but this time I think Bushi's gonna get his win back, and maybe in brutal fashion get revenge or something. But it's quite interesting. I'm really excited because I always feel like just to go back to 2016. When Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, AJ Styles, and Shinsuke Nakamura left, that was a really big void for New Japan, and somebody needed to step up. Kenny stepped up, and he fucking showed the world why he was one of the best in the world, And now that Kenny's gone, and the Young Bucks, Cody and Hangman Page, whether what your opinions on Cody and the Young Bucks are or whatever. I was really excited for Hangman. I thought Hangman had a really good G1 showing last year. He had a great match with Michael Elgin that I was like, whoa, like I really hope I see him next year. But they are all changing the world right now, and kudos to them. But they did, I believe they did leave a void for New Japan. That it's a big gap, especially for Kenny. Kenny was a special being in New Japan. So with that being said, somebody needs to step up. And I made a couple predictions. I was like, Juice is going to be the one. You know what I mean? When I do have faith to Juice. But the showing that Will Ospreay's having this year, I think he's the one, man. I think he's the one, and I love how he's backing New Japan. Like as far as being like not interested in WWE or AEW, he's done a lot of interviews saying that he has no interest there. I mean, the guy fucking moved from from the UK to Japan. Like, if that's not dedication to New Japan, then I don't know what is. And I'm thankful for it because he sees how special New Japan is. Like I see how special New Japan is, and yeah, I'm really, really, really excited for this man's career. I really am. I'm really looking forward to Osprey because right now he's killing it. I'm just gonna go on the record saying it. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. But we'll see how he does in the G1. But yeah, that's the match I'm looking forward to. And Evil and Sonata is also the other match I'm looking forward to on this night because I remember in last year G1 Sonata was the one straying from the pack a little bit, because he realized that this is the G1. He's trying to win the G1. It's competition. So when Lij does their fist bumps in the ring, Sonata left quite a few times, showing that and like, no, this is business. This is the G1. And he had a really good showing against Naito, but Naito ended up beating him, and everybody ended up in the ring and putting their fists up together. But now this year, Evil's doing it, and I think it's really interesting because out of everybody in Lij, everybody knows Naito's the top dog. He's the leader. He's the man. And then you have Sonata, Evil, Bushi, Hiromu. Hiromu's a special being in the junior division. I mean, special in general. People love Hiromu. He's like my favorite wrestler of all time. Maybe not of all time, but I miss the fuck out of the guy. But yeah, Evil and Sonata have always tagged with each other. Won the tag team championships twice, I believe. And yeah, I've always been a huge fan of them both. But it's been this quite interesting thing that you have with your head if you're a New Japan fan, which one of them is going to branch out, And I always said that Evil was going to be the one because I remember Evil having a phenomenal G1 Climax 27, and ever since then I was like, man, that's the guy. That's the guy in Lij who I think who might be able to succeed greatly as a singles competitor. But the way of booking has gone recently, I have a feeling New Japan sees Sonata as that guy. So that's why I'm picking him to win, even though I'm going to be rooting for Sonata. So if you listen to this and you watch the match, just know I'm cheering for Evil. But I think they see Sonata as the guy to branch out first as that big singles competitor. Out of Lij. So, but we'll see, man. I'm really excited for it. I'm really, really excited for it. And they got this story going on, and we'll see if Evil does the fist bump after the match. But now moving on to day 6. So now kicking off day 6, back to block A, I believe, or block B rather. Shingo versus Taichi. Juice Robinson versus Jeff Cobb. Toru Yano versus Jay White, Hiroki Goto versus Tetsuya Naito, and Ishii versus John fucking Moxley. Man, that's the one right there. I mean, I tell you right now, it's days on my list right now. Most anticipated matches for the days. This Ishii versus Moxley is the one, son. It is the one. I really can't wait. Yeah, this is gonna be it's gonna be good. It's going to be really good. I want to see this. I want to see them, pummel each other with elbows in the center of the ring till one of them falls. And I think we're going to see that. Who will be the first to fall? We'll find out. But yeah, that's day 6. Now moving on to day 7. So now, day 7, we have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bad Luck Fale. Tanahashi versus Lance Archer. Kenta versus Evil. Ibushi versus Sonata. And Okada versus Will Ospreay. That's a good one. Really good one. Now, to go to my notes and the most anticipated matches for this day, I have Kenta versus Evil, because both of my favorites. I've always loved Kenta, even when he was with WWE, I kept track of what he was doing. He was one of my favorites. And Evil has, been my favorite since the G127. So, these are just two of my favorites, two of my favorites colliding with one another. And I'm really excited for that. And Second, Ibushi versus Sonata. Last year they had a really good match. They had like I don't think a lot of people talked about that match, but that was like one of my favorites from last year's G1. And Sonata came out on top. He beat him. It was a great match. Yeah, man. If you can take the time to rewatch that one G1 last year on New Japan World, do it, man, because it was one of my favorites last year. Nobody talked about it as much, but yeah, those are the three I'm most looking forward to on that day. And let's go move into day 8. So day 8 has, excuse me, Toriano versus Juice Robinson, Hiroki Goto versus Taichi, John Moxley versus Shingo, Jeff Cobb versus Jay White, and Tomohiro Ishii versus Tetsuya Naito. It's going to be a good one. So for this one, I have 2 matches I'm most looking forward to. Moxley versus Shingo, in case you didn't realize from my tone of voice when I announced that match. Yeah, Moxley Shingo. That's some again. I mean, Moxley in the G1 tournament. It's pretty crazy. So you're getting all these matchups, and yeah, Shingo is not one of the matchups I would have guessed to have. But I mean, I didn't realize I wanted it till I heard it was announced. So when I heard it and I saw their faces against each other, I was like, that's gonna be fucking wicked. I really look forward to it, honestly. And match number 2 on that list that I'm most looking forward to that day is Ishii versus Naito. Every time these guys are in the ring, I enjoy it. I believe the last time they faced off in a one-on-one match was it? Yeah, maybe it was last year's G1. Yeah, it was last year's G1 that they stepped in the ring together. And I believe before that was the King of Pro Wrestling event, the one 2 years ago. 2 years ago, where Evil and Okada battled for the belt. Yeah, I believe Naito was defending his right to challenge Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 12 against Ishii. So that's the last time those guys faced off. So go to New Japan World, see how their last 2 outings were, and yeah, day 8, get ready to see them clash again. So let's move on to day 9. So day 9 has Kota Ibushi versus Lance Archer. Then we have Will Ospreay versus Bad Luck Fale, Zack Sabre Jr. and Evil, Hiroshi Tanahashi and Sanada. In the main event, Okada versus Kenta. That's a good one. I really can't wait for that night. So the matches I'm most looking forward to on that date. Tanahashi versus Sanada. Really looking forward to that one. Zack Sabre Jr. and Evil. Really looking forward to that one because, Evil and Zack have had a little rivalry. Zack has always had the upper hand on Evil. But I have a feeling this year is going to be different. I think Evil's going to get the win. I think he's going to get the win on Zack this year. But, and obviously Okada versus Kenta. The IWGP Heavyweight Champion, Okada versus Kenta. I mean, can you imagine if Kenta could pin Okada and get a title shot after? Man, I don't know, man. I'd be pretty fucking excited. I mean, fuck anybody who thinks different, honestly. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that match. It's a really good one. Yeah, I'm hyped. Let's move on to day 10. Yeah, I believe it's day 10 on my list. So now we go to the B block. Kicking off, Hiroki Goto versus Toriano, Juice Robinson versus Tomohiro Ishii, Jeff Cobb versus Taichi, the rematch, Shingo Takagi versus Jay White, and Tetsuya Naito versus John Moxley. IWGP Intercontinental Champion versus IWGP United States Champion. And as you can imagine, that's on the list as most anticipated matches on day 10. Naito and Moxley, bro. That's it's interesting, man. It's really interesting. Again, another matchup I never thought I'd see coming. You can say that with all of John Moxley's matches, but yeah, this one's gonna be special because Naito he's a part of the Big Four. He's a part of the Big Four, and I remember when Moxley announced himself for the G1, I was like, okay, think of the matches you want to see from him. Think of it right now. Well, obviously, I wanted to see him against Tana. I want to see him against Okada, Ibushi, and Naito. And sadly, 3 of those 4 men are in the same block. But we got Naito and Moxley. So, I'm not gonna be a spoiled brat. I'm happy what we got. So, yes, very excited for Naito versus Moxley. We also are getting Shingo versus White is also on my list as most anticipated match of the G1 on this day. I don't know. I just think it's quite interesting. Quite an interesting matchup. You know, Jay White has only feuded with Chaos, so it's kind of interesting to see him go against Lij guys. I've always wanted them to feud. Like I was really excited when Evil beat him last year at the G1 because if Jay would have won, he would have went on to the finals, I believe. But Evil kept him from doing that. He got the win over Jay, and I was like, ooh, I was like, hopefully we could see a Jay White versus Evil feud in the future, Lij, But nothing came of it, unfortunately. But I never forgot, and that's the thing with New Japan booking. You can never forget things because, you always gotta have a good memory for New Japan, and I still remember that. And here he is going against Lij again, and we'll see how Shingo favors, but we'll see. But let's move on to day 11. We're back to the A block. So Kota Ibushi versus Bad Luck Fale. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay. Okada versus Lance Archer, Kenta versus Sonata, and Tanahashi versus Evil. Now, the matches I'm most looking forward to, there's only two on here that I'm most looking forward to, and that is Evil versus Tanahashi. Again, Evil is one of my favorites, and going against Tanahashi, it's going to be interesting because, Tanahashi is going to this tournament hurt. So I'm really, well, I made a prediction how he's going to do in my points later, but I mean, who knows, man? It could be a surprise, But he's going in really hurt, so I really want to know how many times he's going to lose and who he's going to lose to. So and with Evil being my favorite, I hope it is. But who knows? I'm hoping for a really good match. But yeah, I'm an Evil mark, so I'm really excited for him facing Tanahashi. And second one, Kenta versus Sonata. That's something that I remember. When they announced Kenta for the G1, I was like, oh man, like, who are the top dudes I want to see him in the ring against? Well, I immediately went to the entire Lij, especially Naito. I think that's my dream match right now. My dream match right now is Kenta versus Naito. So, but, he's going against an Lij member, so I'm hyped. He's going against, he went against Evil earlier in one of these, picks. I could be wrong. Did I? Wait a second. Yep, Kenta versus Evil. That already happened. Day 7. So yeah, day 11, we're going to get Sonata versus Kenta. So yeah, I'm really hyped for that one. I really look forward to it. And let's move on to day 12. So here, back to the B block. We have Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi. Toru Yano versus Jon Moxley. Juice Robinson versus Tetsuya Naito, Taichi versus Jay White, and Ishii versus Hiroki Goto. So this one, my two top matches to look forward to. Just two matches I'm most looking forward to for this day. Cobb and Shingo. I just think they're both hard-hitting styles with Cobb's athleticism. It's going to be interesting to see. And Juice versus Naito. I'm a fan of Juice, and I'm a huge fan of Naito. So when I heard this match was announced, I got excited because a few years ago, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago. But Juice picked up a win in a tag match against Naito, and they went on to face each other. I believe it was at the anniversary show. I want to say two or 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I forgot what show, but they had a really good match, and I was like, okay. I hope we get more of the Naito versus Juice in the future. And that was like 2 years ago, and now I'm finally gonna get it again. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. Maybe Juice could pick up an upset victory over Naito and get another shot at the IC belt. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Those are the two I'm most looking forward to: Cobb and Shingo, Juice versus Naito. So let's move on to day 13. So August 3rd, day 13, we have kicking off this one Kenta versus Bad Luck Fale. Lance Archer versus Zack Sabre Jr. Suzuki-Gun versus Suzuki-Gun. Will Ospreay versus the King of Darkness Evil. Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi. And Okada versus Sonata. Now, how many matches I got looking forward to here? Okay, I got 1, 2, and 3. I have 3 matches looking forward to this August 3rd date, day 13. Ospreay versus Evil, because again, Evil's one of my favorites, and Ospreay is like one of the best in the world right now. He's tearing it up. Tanahashi versus Ibushi, because that was last year's G1 final, and I remember that final like it was yesterday, man. I was pulling for Ibushi hardcore, and Tana sunned him, bro. Tanahashi just sunned him, beat his ass towards the end, and got the high fly foe for a victory. And yeah, you know, everybody's rooting for Ibushi, I assume. Like, I mean, I'm definitely rooting for him. I just feel like it would be like, I just feel like it's something that needs to happen. Kota's so talented. We all know what he can do. And I really thought that not just me, but I'm sure the entire wrestling community who's in love with New Japan thought Ibushi had it last year. But he couldn't quite get it done last year. So him facing Tana this year should be interesting. Plus, Tanahashi's very hurt right now. He's very vulnerable. So I could definitely see Ibushi getting his win back. But the third match, Okada versus Sonata. These guys have been tearing it up, man. Their last 2 matches, man. Wrestling Dentaku and the New Japan Cup final. They tore the house down. They've had great matches. But Okada has gotten the best of Sonata every time they faced off. I mean, ever since Sonata's made his debut in Dominion in 2016, I believe. It's been every time they have faced off. I remember they faced off at a Wrestling Dentaku show in 2016 when Naito defended it against Ishii. They were the co-main event, and ever since, Okada got the best of him, of course. And ever since then, I believe the record is 5-0 for Okada. So, everybody knows Okada is the superior one here, going into this matchup. But can Sonata get a win over him? We'll have to wait and see, I think I might pick Sonata to get a win over him, but who knows? But as of right now, Okada owns his ass, and we gotta see what Sonata does different this time. But yeah, those are the 3 matches I'm most looking forward to: Ospreay Evil, Tanahashi Ibushi, and Okada versus Sonata. So now we're on August 4th, day 14. Let me go ahead and announce the matches. Let me look it up here. Alrighty, so we have Toriano versus Tomohiro Ishii. Juice Robinson versus Taichi. Haruki Goto versus Jeff Cobb. Jon Moxley versus Jay White. And we have Naito versus Shingo. Yeah, so we have 2 matches I'm most looking forward to on this card. And that is Moxley versus Jay White and Naito versus Shingo. Now, Moxley versus White, it's going to be a good one. A lot of people joking around on Twitter, knife pervert versus knife pervert or whatever. I'm really curious to see Moxley's energy during this match because, I feel like Jay has a very methodical, very slow type of style. And some people don't like that. A lot of people think it's like he has like a really WWE type style. But I guess I could see it, but I look at it differently. Like, his style is way different than a Moxley style, than a Ishii style, than a Suzuki style. It's not a. He could be hard hitting, of course, but it's not. But he's like I said earlier, methodical. He likes to, make you pay with mistakes, and he likes to slow things down, make sure it's at his pace and whatnot. And and Moxley style is just go out there and fucking raise hell and leave. and I'm really curious how it's gonna work. I'm really curious how they're gonna book it and who's gonna come out on top. And even if Jay wins and doesn't win the G1, would he challenge Moxley at Wrestle Kingdom or at a future show for the belt? Who knows? So I'm really curious about that one. And obviously, Lij versus Lij is always interesting. We're getting one early in the tournament with Sonata and Evil, and we are getting it with Shingo and Naito. And this one's gonna be really, really, I keep saying interesting with everything, but it's gonna be a good one. Just these styles just make for a great match. This is like 1+1=2 shit. Versus Shingo, it's gonna be magic. Naito's the one who brought Shingo into Lij, and Shingo's been tearing it up recently, and he's gonna go against his buddy, his comrade, his leader to Lij. Or they probably don't treat it as leaders, but you know what I mean. It's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for that one. So let's move on to day 15. So August 7th kicks off with back to the A block, Sonata versus Lance Archer, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Bad Luck Fale, Will Ospreay versus Kenta, Kota Ibushi versus Zack Sabre Jr., and Okada versus Evil. Now, I'm looking forward to every match on this card. Ibushi, Zack, Evil versus Okada, of course. Definitely those top two matches, but one I'm most looking forward to that made the list for me on this day is Ospreay versus Kenta. That one's gonna be really special, I feel, and yeah, I look forward to that one. So let's keep it moving to day 16. So August 8th shows for day 16. Back to the B block. And opening up is going to be Toru Yano versus Taichi, Jeff Cobb versus Naito, Goto versus Moxley, Robinson versus Jay White, and Shingo Takagi versus Tomohiro Ishii. So the two matches I'm most looking forward to on this day is Juice versus Jay White. Last time these guys faced, I was the G1 special before last year's G1 in San Francisco, and the Cow Palace, Juice Robinson beat Jay White for the IWGP United States Championship, and it was a great match. I mean, being there live was something I'll never forget. I'll never forget that pop when he rolled up Jay White and got to the 3 count. Just being there live, seeing everybody's reaction, like jumping up with everybody and like just cheering, and just super happy moment for Juice. And that was a big moment for Juice. And yeah, that was a really special moment. I was one of my favorite live wrestling shows to be at, to witness that. And can Jay White get his win back? I think so. I think he's gonna beat Juice in the tournament. Unfortunately for Juice, but that's just the way I see it going. And of course, Ishii versus Shingo. That's gonna be a fucking brutal match. Expect nothing but brutality. That's all I gotta say about that. Look forward to that. Glad it's main eventing. It's the right move, New Japan. So let's move on to day 16th or 17th. I'm losing track. But next day. So August 10th, day 16, 17. Who cares about the days? I lost track. But anyway, this one's August 10th. We have Okada versus Ibushi, Tanahashi versus Will Ospreay, Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr., Evil versus Lance Archer, and Sonata versus Bad Luck Fale. So I have 3 matches I'm most looking forward to that day, and that will be Okada versus Ibushi, Will Ospreay versus Tanahashi, and Kenta versus Zack Sabre Jr. I think Kenta and Zack Sabre Jr. is going to be interesting. It's an interesting combination of styles that I really, that I feel like we've probably seen before. I feel like it might be similar to like an Ibushi and Sabre match, but we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm looking forward to that one. Will versus Tana, money. Okada versus Ibushi. I mean, that's the match we all want to see at the Tokyo Dome, right? We're getting it here. So, which kind of gives me a kind of feeling that we probably won't see Ibushi win for some reason. Like I don't know. Like I feel like if they wanted Ibushi to win the G1 and go to the Tokyo Dome, they would have put Okada in the B block. But I don't know. We're getting it here. But I mean, I'm still gonna make my prediction at the end of this. But yeah, we're getting that, and look forward to it. Let's move on to day 17. So August 11, we are getting these following matchups: a rematch from Best of the Super Junior Final, Juice Robinson versus John Moxley; Tomohiro Ishii versus Taichi; Toriano versus Jeff Cobb; Hiroki Goto versus Shingo Takagi; and Tetsuya Naito versus the Switchblade, Jay White. So the three bouts that I'm most looking forward to on this night, or two rather, I only have two, is Juice Robinson versus John Moxley, and Naito versus Jay White, obviously. Naito versus White has been a protected match ever since Jay White's return from excursion. We've seen him face Okada and Tanahashi, and they have a rivalry with both men, and and those are the two biggest names in the company, and the third is Naito, and we haven't seen them talk about each other or feud with one another the entire time Jay White has came back from excursion a couple years ago. So this is a big match. It's a really big match, and we're gonna see where it heads and where these guys will be at towards the end. How many points they're gonna face each other while they main event this day 17. And of course, Juice versus Moxley, because they had a great match against one another at the final for Best of the Super Junior 26, and obviously John Moxley coming out victorious. And Juice is gonna come in this match with something to prove and something to fight for to get that belt back and to get a win over him. And yeah, we're just gonna see how far Juice is gonna willing to go to get that title back and show John Moxley and the whole world that he can hang. So yeah, really look forward to that. Now, I think we should jump in how I see the tournament going with the points. So, for the A block, I have Ibushi winning the A block. And then I have the Switchblade Jay White winning the B block. And I think they meet each other August 12th in the G1 Climax final. And who do I think is going to win? I think I'm going to say Ibushi. I feel like I may be wrong again because I picked Ibushi last year, but I can't see it going any other way, man. I can't see it going any other way. Even though I can see a White and Okada match, a rematch to Wrestle Kingdom next year, but I don't know. I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying Kota's going to finally do it, and he's going to face Okada in the Tokyo Dome next year. And who knows how this thing's going to end up, because there's going to be 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. Night 1, Night 2 for Wrestle Kingdom. I don't know how they're going to do that. I think they've already explained it. I just haven't read into it. But I don't know. It's really curious, man. But I want to go ahead and wrap this up because it's getting pretty late. And I'm getting really tired. My garage is getting a lot hotter. So I want to get in the cold air inside. But yeah, man. Who knows where this is going to go. I don't think I'm going to promote anything on my Twitter. But if you happen to watch this, I'm not going to promote it on my Twitter, but if you happen to come across this on YouTube or something like that, my Twitter handle is TonyPunk8 at TonyPunk8. And yeah, give me a follow. I follow a lot. I post a lot of New Japan stuff. So if you're a fan of New Japan, follow me. And yeah, man, we'll see where this goes. I don't know how often I want to post these. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a review of the Australia show. That's gonna happen in a couple days. But yeah, we'll see, man. I was in my room reading, and I was thinking about the G1, and I was like, I need to get my excitement out and talk about it. So, hopefully I'll get better at this, guys, because I feel like I stunk up the joint right now because I feel like I kept on saying the same thing, and I feel like there's more I wanted to say about a lot of these matches. I mean, almost every of these matches that I named that I'm most excited for, but I just couldn't get it out. I'm not used to this talking to myself thing, But hopefully I'll grow the more I do it, and who knows. But give me your feedback at the comment section, or ask some questions, man, and we could talk and stuff like that, and talk about New Japan. And yeah, I think that's it. Twitter handle is TonyPunk8 at TonyPunk8s, and yeah, hit me up whenever, guys. Thank you so much, and get ready for the G1. It's gonna be exciting.